Warning: the show you are about to hear contains muscular, intelligent, and intelligible sexy men discussing B-movies, and will contain movie spoilers. Only one of the previous statements is actually true. You decide.
So light that fuse and let it burn. There's no escape, there's no return. Exploding heads and synthwave licks. We're deep in cult classic kicks. Low budget dreams that never quit. Every frame a misfit hit. This is the B-Movie Blitzkrieg Podcast. This is Duncan and the Baz. The B-Movie Blitzkrieg Podcast.
Welcome to the B-Movie Blitzkrieg Podcast, the show where the body count is high, the budget is low, and the cars are somehow both futuristic and falling apart. I'm your host, Duncan McLeish, your pit crew chief on this demolition derby of deranged cinema, where the plot takes a back seat to explosions and seatbelts are for cowards. Each episode, we slam headfirst into films that feel like they were written from the driver's seat in a monster truck rally. And what better way to burn the rubber into a brand new episode this season than with Death Race 2000 from 1975, a dystopian joyride of leather jumpsuits, point-based pedestrian murder, and more chrome than a fascist fashion show on wheels. Don't worry, dear listeners, I can feel you worrying, but don't. I'm not driving this Deathmobile solo. I would never do it. You never enter a government-sponsored murder race without a co-pilot. Riding shotgun with me on this episode is a man who once parallel parked a tank during a riot and faked having a severed hand for a sympathetic Handy J. My co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Baz.
Guten Abend, mein Führer. Fuel up the Volkswagen Beetles, my friend. We're crossing the border.
Let's say, because this one is one, I'm curious about this one, because when I created the list and I sent it over to you, this is the one that you thought, if I haven't seen this one, this is the one I know most about because of its impact in pop culture, morbid as it is. Having now watched this movie, had you seen it before, or had you just seen it like clips or whatever?
No.
You hadn't seen it?
I hadn't seen this at all, no. I think I was thinking of the Gumball Rally.
Oh, right. This is like one of these things where I have a distinct memory as a kid being in my dad's car and my dad saying old woman, that's 75 points, and going, what? Not getting it. And being older and then having watched this movie in my teens, actually, it all starting to make sense. This kind of had a weird cultural impact where this just became part of the knock over a pedestrian point thing, which was a morbid British joke. I'm assuming an American joke as well, but without context, I'm sure there's plenty of people that were using that joke without knowing anything about this movie. I am so excited because I thought you were coming in this going like that. Yeah, it turns out I'd seen everything. And that makes everything that's about to come up, including the plot, very, very interesting, which, Baz, we're going to do right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to a segment I've called From Frankenstein to the Finish Line. Baz is going to break down the plot, complicated as it is, with many political twists and turns, almost like a George Lucas prequel to a Star Wars movie. Baz, what is the plot of Death Race 2000?
It's about a race. There are deaths. There are not 2,000 of them. No. So it's kind of set in a not post-apocalyptic, that's a very overused term, in a kind of dystopian America of the future, which I think is ironically probably now in the past. I'm sure it's about 1995 or something it's supposed to be. Or
although watching this movie you would think it's fucking 2016, with the way that we're living life right now, Baz.
So indeed there are some scary parallels. So America had collapsed, I believe, is the kind of vague premise. for some reason, yet to be explained to me, they keep the masses quelled by having four fucking idiots race across America, kind of coast to coast, mowing people down, and apparently this is the greatest sporting event of the age.
It's the Colosseum, Baz, from ancient Rome. This is how they kept it. Like, you could do whatever you want as the emperor, but as long as you put on the Colosseum.
Yeah, but they weren't running the lions through your town. Do you know what I mean?
They, in fairness, that is an accurate point and an acquiesce to your premise there. That was very well made, and I bow to your superior intellect.
So the basic idea is these four kind of teams. Well, it's a driver. It's one car, 4 cars, each with a driver and a navigator, and they can accrue points by killing people basically with their vehicles. And it's gradated in what's supposed to be a kind of shocking way that you get more for a baby or a fucking old person and all this kind of nonsense. I don't know how this is supposed to placate the seething masses. I really don't.
But it does.
But apparently it does, yeah. And that is the plot. Basically, it's this race, a death race across America.
There we go, ladies and gents. That is your succinct plot synopsis. I have nothing to add to that because that's actually probably better than what I could have come up with. I was basically going to say wacky races, but it's a grindhouse movie. And what I don't know is, and I'm sure our dear listeners will let us know, is what the chronology is. I don't know if this came first, then wacky races, or I suspect wacky races first by Hanna-Barbera.
I would have thought so. Wacky races
first, and then someone was like that. What if that was real? And it knocked over people.
Weirdly, just before we get in there, one of the films that kept kind of sticking in my mind, and not because the film is similar, because the film's much better, but Logan's Run. You seen Logan's Run?
Interesting. It's interesting you go Logan's Run. I was thinking, and I have seen Logan's Run. I love Logan's Run, but I was thinking The Running Man.
Yes, that's another very good example, but because it's this idea that the future is slightly ridiculous, you know what I mean? And it's all based around one premise, like everything's based around this race, or the TV show in The Running Man, or
dare I do a callback that goes way back to our beginning of recordings, Session 9, The Contenders. It wasn't Session 9. What was it? It was Series 7, The Contenders.
Series 7, The Contenders.
It's been with us all the way right through, Baz.
Full circle, mate.
On that full circle, almost Elton John-esque Lion King moment, we're going to jump out, and when we come back, it's time to talk about our top 5 rad, sad, and bad moments from Death Race 2000, coming right up, right after this. And welcome back to a segment I call 5-Point Hit and Misses. This is the top 5 rad, sad, and bad. There may be more, there may be less. Who knows? Let's find out. We're basically going to talk about like moments in the movie that kind of wowed us for various different things. I'm going to come in with one. Maybe my favourite named driver in this one is the Nazi-themed racer called Matilda the Hun, which is...
It's one fine-looking Aryan bitch.
That doesn't play well. Using my today goggles, I wish I hadn't seen that. You could just see that it was a simpler time. Some ways I crave that simpler time, and other times I think we've grown as a species. What about you? Like, what were you coming in with? Is it good, bad, different? What we have?
First one, I think would probably have to come under bad because I just don't understand what's going on. So basically, America appears to have devolved into some kind of fascist state.
Yeah.
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 The death race is the peak of their culture.
Yep.
It's their multimedia nirvana. Why then, in a fascist state, is the announcer, the guy that's hosting the whole shebang, dressed like a cross between Austin Powers and Fred from Scooby-Doo?
I don't know, baby. Yeah.
He is just super gay looking. He'd have definitely been in the camps.
Well, it always goes the same way. Like I was thinking about like a modern interpretation of this is like something like the Hunger Games. And the Hunger Games, I don't know if you've ever seen the Hunger Games, but the presenter of the Hunger Games is exactly the same. It's like the TV personality. It's the same with the Running Man. Actually, the TV presenter, the face of what the government is doing, is this like super entertaining show business person because that's more appeasing to the people than the cold hard reality of the government's foot on your throat. It's
I
it's
think
ridiculous.
it's all part of the subversive gay agenda, mate. First it was this, then it's the fluoride in the water.
Tons of frogs gay, according to
Yeah,
Alex Jones.
absolutely.
I'm going to say the sound
absolutely.
effects don't work for me in this movie. Sound design is bad. I'm
Yeah.
going to say it's bad because like you're seeing people being run over or like splayed, and the effects are like or it's like everything from like Acme sound effects from like a Wile E. Coyote, like used all the way through this, and it doesn't match the same level of what you're seeing on screen, which is deeply weird. Like the mental gymnastics my brain has to do to match the two together isn't great.
You want to know what's fucking rad though?
Tell me what's rad, Baz.
Sylvester motherfucking Stallone.
You didn't know he was in this movie, which makes me so fucking
saw
happy.
that coming, and then he's there, and 2 minutes later, he's just letting rip into the crowd with a Tommy gun.
He's called Machine Gun Joe as well. There's a guy that lives his gimmick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolute fucking hero. But that it does, however, segue me into a bad,
Oh no.
which is Big Sly's penchant for getting a bit punchy with the women when he's trying to.
It's pretty, but I like looking at it now. Once again, I hadn't seen this movie in years, but looking at it now, I was like, "Holy fucking shit! This is just like done in this movie."
I think it's pretty safe to say none of the films that we are covering in this whole show hold up well under the modern light, as it were.
Don't know what you mean, Baz. Don't know what you mean.
And that's coming from me. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I'm going to fling in as good as the scoring for Pedestrians, which is quirky and fun. You get 100 points for someone in a wheelchair, 70 points for the aged, 50 points for their kids, so on and so forth. I'm just going to say it kind of, we're joking about that, but if you live in 2025 and see how governments treat the aged, the disabled, or the young, I'm going to say those points are probably accurate. I'm going to say that they maybe tie up as satirically OTT as this movie might have felt back in 75 has become weirdly prescient. No, we are not driving over people with vehicles for fun and entertainment on TV, but at the same time, we're not exactly great to each other. So I'm going to say the movie hits a funny point, but at the same time, a valid point. So I'm going to give it that.
Especially on Euthanasia Day at the geriatric hospital.
Oh, dude, Euthanasia Day is the fucking greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
There is an assisted dying bill working its way through both not only the Scottish Parliament and the UK Parliament. And I think if what was written in the bill was you wheel them out and then someone drives over them in the car, I don't think it'd still be debated. I think it'd be out the fucking door. So
very probably, given that they already tried that at the start of lockdown. But let's not get political about it.
You try to get me pulled off the internet 4 fucking episodes into this. It's not only that they wheel them out to be the beauty of that scene is that Frankenstein, who is apparently the champion, who we believe up to this point is like ruthless, has suddenly grown like a moral compass because he doesn't wheel over the patients, actually ends up running over the doctors and nurses, which scores them less points. And everyone seems okay with that.
Indeed.
Death race. What else you got?
I've written something down here that was rad, and I can't even remember it. I've just written rad. Frankenstein's erotic use of a radish. Can't even remember what that was about.
I can't remember if using the radish. Frankenstein is awesome in this movie because it's David Carradine, right?
It's David Carradine. It's
yeah,
Kung Fu.
Yeah, it's Kung Fu, you know what I mean? Or Bill, if you've watched the old Kill Bill movies, and many other things. He's littered. We will no doubt be revisiting a David Carradine performance at some point during this this long running show many years in the future. But he's brilliant. Like the mythology of the character is fucking stupid, but at the same time absolutely glorious. The fact that no one knows he's wearing a fake mask to hide his identity, but at the same time everyone knows he's wearing a fake mask to hide his identity. The amount of people that know what he looks like underneath that mask is ridiculous in this movie. And he's kind of great. You know what's not great though is the fight scene between him and Sylvester Stallone, which is just
was going to be my next one.
Oh, it's fucking hellish, man. It makes the stuff that we talked about in our previous episode, Dolomite, feel like a Jackie Chan movie.
Well, and to top it off, Frankenstein looks like a BDSM Adam West in it.
Holy strap on, Batman.
However, what is pretty fucking rad, and this is a wee throwback to our previous show, as it were, our previous lives as horror podcasters. One thing I thought was absolutely fucking rad in this is Manky Grenade Fist. Now, anybody that was listening to our podcast about 10 years ago,
2013, that's a callback so far back that time doesn't exist.
Videodrome, wasn't it?
It was Videodrome, Manky Gunfist. Yeah, the plans, it's worth saying, all the plans, the resistance in this movie is so fucking bad that every plan is like laughing. It is like Wile E. Coyote trying to trap the Roadrunner. Like everything
and they also
do
look
is
like
just
a prison chain gang. Why's that?
No idea. We're hidden. We are the resistance. Really? You're all wearing similar outfits.
Denim.
Double denim. Do you have anything else to add? Or are you happy to move on to the most ridiculous lines from this movie?
Just one last thing then, which is the most raddest point of the whole thing.
Go for it.
Right at the end, as Frankenstein's master plan just plays out, and we get the old raised fist salute. Best one since the end of Breakfast Club. Boom! Mic drop. Leaving that there with you.
Breakfast Club is not a B-movie. We'll never be covering it. We'll never be covering it. So I'm just going to leave it hanging there. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's the most ridiculous lines from Death Race 2000. And welcome to a segment that I call Lines That Should Have Been Run Over. This is us recapping some of the most ridiculous lines from the movie. Me and Baz were just talking off air. Actually, this is a movie where actions speak louder than words. The funny elements in this movie are really more action-based than they are line-based. So I get a sneaky suspicion that we're going to have a ton of crossover here from the very limited amount of lines I have. I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to get one out of the way because I want this to be used to describe me in the future, specifically on anything involving anything that I do. And this is flung at Sylvester Stallone's character, where he's introduced by the kind of commentator as loved by thousands, hated by millions. And that's kind of that's how I want to be remembered. See, like now, recorded evidence. You can use this if I die, and my wife's like, beloved husband, and you're like, no, that's not what Duncan wants. Duncan has recorded evidence. All he wants is Duncan McLeish on his tombstone, the day that he was born, the day he died, loved by thousands, hated by millions. Saying that that's what I want, but you have to abide by my wishes, even if I am a few tins in. Back you got.
This one I found funny, but it's a bit close to the bone. As you mentioned earlier on there, that one of the teams in this are kind of Nazi themed. to put it nicely.
Matilda the Hun.
Matilda the Hun. And while she is dressed as a Nazi, she delivers the line, "What's coming to me is the final solution to the cowgirl problem."
I mean, that's more that's past tongue in cheek. The tongue is through the cheek.
Yeah. But, even I was kind of slightly offended by that, I've got to say. Yeah, that was me. What else do you have?
Instead of saying, "Oh my," did you go, "Oh mein Kampf"? That's terrible. I hate myself
What
right now.
in Himmel?
What about like the introduction to Frankenstein the legend, Frankenstein the indestructible, sole survivor of the Titanic pileup in '95, ripped up, wiped out, battered, shattered, creamed and reamed. And I'm going to say that's exactly how I want to be treated on a Saturday night with the missus. Battered, shattered, creamed and reamed. Rip me up and wipe me out.
You were going to say that's how you want to go before you then.
Yeah,
get
but
the
before you then
headstone.
put the hated by like loved by thousands, hated by millions. Yeah, put that as like in italics underneath it. What about yourself?
A line of commentary.
Oh,
What does she expect if you leave your navigator lying around? Someone's going to run over him.
he literally scores points in his own navigator. Cleopatra, if they scatter, go for the baby and the mother. Both of them, not just one. And then my last one is one of the worst lines in cinema history, and it's delivered by Sylvester Stallone, really kind of foreshadowing his acting prowess here. "You know, Myra, some people might think you're cute, but me, I think you're one very large baked potato." Someone wrote that and thought, "Ooh,
That's the
stinging."
line to deliver.
That's what we'll get. Although, you know what I'm going to say? Sylvester Stallone, like talking accent-wise, when you think about Rocky and all the rest, surprisingly normal, which makes me think how much of that is put on.
Yeah, I know. My last one as well is a line that he threw in. So somebody, I think it's a kind of TV interviewer or something, or somebody throws the line, "I happen to hold the power of life and death," and Sly comes back with, "I happen to hold the clam sauce," and then throws his dinner at them. Fucking what, Sly? Shut the fuck up.
Did you add on that? What the fuck's going on here? You punch drunk already, ladies and gents. That is our that's our lines from the movie. When we come back, we're talking plot holes. Can't imagine there would be any in this movie. We're going to be right back right after this. And welcome back to a segment that I called "Logic Just Got Flattened." This is plot holes in the movie. Yeah, I'm not going to go with the obvious ones. I'm going to go more superficial, and I've already mentioned it in my intro here. The cars in this movie are supposed to be high tech, like killing machines, but they are constantly breaking down. Not only are they constantly breaking, like everything is breaking, like people are crawling over them, fixing things and all the rest. You can't bump into anything or kill a cow without the car stopping, which makes me wonder, high tech or just kind of shit. It made me think of, remember Robot Wars in the UK?
Yeah,
Think of that.
fondly.
Yep. For no other reason than you would see something roll at you, but that looks impressive as fuck, and it would hit the first obstacle and then stop working. You just have like panicked nerds going like that, trying to get this thing to work, and it wouldn't work. So there you are.
Coming off the back of that, there's a scene with Big Sly and his navigator, and they're trying to kill a fisherman.
Oh God, yeah.
And you start to realise how awkward it can be to hit somebody in a car at close range if they have the freedom to run about.
They can do it. They can move sideways. You can't.
Exactly. So then you have to start to question things like the horns on the front of the car. Not really, you know. In terms of plot, the big glaring one obviously has to be the whole kind of premise of the death race, right? So it's the biggest sporting event in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole country's watching it, right? Don't go out.
Like all you're doing
just stay in your house.
Literally all you're doing is talking about the pubs right now.
Going, but there's a road crew working on the road.
Yes.
You know, now surely they would have said, "Let boys take a fucking."
But
pull
what I'm
a
saying is,
sickie today,"
literally,
do you know
that's
what
the
I mean?
premise to the Purge. That's what this, once again, another movie that is like based off Death
Oh
Race
yeah,
2000. Like the Purge, all you have to do is stay home and lock up. You're fine.
yeah, totally.
Movie over, roll credits. Ladies and gents, let's get to scores, the nitty gritty, the detail that you want, and we'll do it right after this. And welcome back to a segment that I've called Rated X for Explosions. We're going to score this movie 1 through 5. Baz, like the previous episode, I'm coming in with this one. Must be the 75 in the water. 3.5 out of 5 for Death Ray 2000. Where are you coming in?
I'm coming in a wee bit lower this time. I think maybe a 2.5.
It's a
I
lack
think.
of hose, isn't it?
What's that?
It's a lack of hose.
There's a few holes in it. A few wee taties.
Taties.
I think I might be wrong in this, but I think this film appears to be slightly older than the other ones that we've covered thus far.
It's the same year as Dolomite, but it feels
Right.
aged. Like,
It
even from the
feels-
opening, the opening credits are hand-drawn, which is never a great sign.
Yeah, and there's crowd scenes in this that are
Yeah.
hand drawn as well.
100%.
Earlier
This
on
is
in
the old
film,
school
yeah.
way of doing things. It's Corman
Uh-huh.
school of making a movie, where you have just basically an artist just draws things and puts it on and
Yeah.
film it. So
But yeah, it just felt a bit more dated.
yep,
Something like, obviously we're only discussing the films that we've covered so far. So something like Hard Ticket to Hawaii was a
Yeah.
kind of 80s film, and so the goofiness was kind of funnier.
yeah. I get
This almost reminds me of a kind of 60s movie or something that was trying to be serious. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And yeah, that detracted from it a little bit for a wee bit for me, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's still an enjoyable film to watch. I mean, it's mad as a box of fucking frogs. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think the kind of perceived age of it just took a wee bit of the edge off it for me.
Interesting. Right, well, let's bring it to its natural close. Ladies and gents, we're going to be right back to close out the show right after this. And welcome to the close of the show, or That's a Wrap, Roadkill fans. Baz, would you like to say goodbye to our listeners, please?
Certainly will, Mein Führer. Keep those panzers rolling, folks. I'll see you all next time.
Thank you very much, Baz. And with that, we've crossed the finish line on Death Race 2000, the only film where national unity is achieved through vehicular manslaughter and the acting is flatter than a run-over pedestrian. And of course, the plot takes a hard left into nonsense. All hail our new president, The Baz. It's a dystopian demolition derby of leather jumpsuits and more satirical nonsense than a government press conference on roller skates. Of course, a massive thanks to our new president, The Baz, for riding shotgun through this cinematic car crash. We do it all for you, dear listeners, for the heady highs of seeking that B-movie brilliance. And because therapy still isn't covered in our podcast health plan. We're getting there. Give us time. If your ears are still intact and your brain hasn't been road-killed, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your questionable content. We will, of course, be back in 2 weeks' time, excitedly covering 2019 After the Fall of New York, a film that asks the viewer, what if Mad Max was Italian, radioactive, and allergic to coherent storytelling? Until then, stay groovy, stay grindhouse, and remember, here at the B-Movie Blitzkrieg, the bizarre meets the brilliant, one B-movie at a time. Goodbye, everyone.
Blitzkrieg!